She knocked on my door just after midnight. When I opened it, I saw my niece, who was 10 years old. Her eyes were puffy. Her skin was mottled with purples and blues, and her lips were quivering as she whispered, "Mommy's new husband beat me." The words felt like shrapnel tearing through my chest. I crouched, my hands hovering over her bruises. Afraid to touch her, afraid of breaking her further. Her small body shook uncontrollably. My sister had married a man I never trusted. I had warned her once, but she had ignored me. Now the proof stood bleeding right on my doorstep. I wanted to roar with fury, but instead I swallowed it cold and controlled. I brought her inside, wrapped her in a blanket, and listened to her shallow breathing while my thoughts twisted into something sharp. Minutes later, I was at their house. He opened the door, a tall guy with a smirk, his voice too quick. "I didn't do anything," he said. "She just fell." Behind him, my sister stood silent, her eyes downcast. No denial, no defense. I turned toward my niece. "You're coming with me," but he blocked the door, his frame filling the space like a barricade. "She ain't going anywhere." His growl was low and possessive. I didn't move or blink because I had already decided she was leaving. With me one way or another. Driving home with my niece that night, her fragile head leaning against the car window, I replayed every warning I had ever given my sister. "He's a danger," I'd said. "He's manipulative," she had brushed me off. "He's good with her," she had claimed. "He provides, but providing comes easy when the currency is fear." I noticed the way my niece flinched at sudden movements, how she hesitated before speaking, as if each word might trigger punishment. These were not just bruises on her skin. They were bruises on her spirit. My sister's betrayal was double-edged. She had chosen silence, she had chosen him over her own daughter's safety. Her denial stung worse than his violence. Yet I didn't shout at her, I didn't storm into her life waving accusations. I understood something she didn't. Monsters thrive in the shadows. You don't scare them away with noise, you drag them into the light. So I began collecting shadows. I started quietly with photographs of the bruises, dates and times, medical reports disguised as accident files. I spoke to neighbors who whispered about shouting through thin walls and doors, slammed hard enough to rattle windows. My niece told me pieces and fragments, his hand across her face. The belt the threats whispered in the dark. She cried but kept talking as though the truth itself was a release. Each detail I recorded with military precision. At family dinners I said nothing. I watched him pour himself drinks, boast about money that wasn't his, and laugh too loud. My sister smiled beside him, a desperate smile. She thought I had given up. He thought I was weak. But weakness is often mistaken for patience, and patience was my weapon. When the folder grew thick enough with dates, photos, witness statements, and medical notes, I felt it a shift. I wasn't reacting anymore, I was preparing. I filed the petition, quietly contacted Child Services, and sent the package to the district attorney with no return address. He was still laughing in his living room when the storm gathered against him. The call came 2 weeks later. He had been summoned. Investigators were at his door, police were asking questions. My sister, bewildered and cornered, was forced to face the evidence she had chosen to ignore. I didn't go that day. I didn't need to, but when she finally came to me, her eyes swollen from crying, her hands shaking, she asked, "Was it you?" I didn't answer. I didn't need to. I slid the folder across the table. Everything was inside, every bruise, every lie exposed. She opened it page by page. Her face drained and tears blurred the ink. She couldn't deny it anymore. Her silence cracked into sobs, but I didn't comfort her because comfort belongs to the innocent. Days later I visited him. Not in secret, not at night, but in daylight, calmly. He opened the door, already pale. He knew. His smirk was gone, replaced by twitching fear. "You set me up," he spat. "No," I said, my voice even. "You set yourself up. I just kept the receipts." He lunged with words, not fists. "She'll forgive me." "They always do." I stepped closer, my eyes fixed on him, until he couldn't hold the stare. "She won't. Not this time." The sound of patrol cars approached in the distance. He heard it too. His face collapsed, all bluster evaporating. I leaned in low enough for him alone to hear. "She's safe now." "You're finished." Stepped back, leaving him in his own collapsing house of lies with the sirens closing in. My niece now sleeps peacefully. No flinching at footsteps, no bruises hidden beneath sleeves. My sister lives with her regret. She chose silence until silence betrayed her. I don't hate her, I don't forgive her either. Some choices can't be undone. As for him, he is where men like him belong. Cage stripped of control, his snarls echoing only against concrete walls. I feel nothing for him. No triumph, no satisfaction. Because revenge isn't about rage. It's about restoration. And I restored what mattered. The last thing I told him still lingers in my mind. She's safe. You're nothing. And that is the only verdict that matters.